Next up is the hot D, as Matty B always calls it.
It is.
His favorite discussion of the night. This is episode 6, titled "The Princess and the Queen," and the summary goes a little something. Ooh, wait, pause real quick. I asked my spouse about being a bridesmaid, and I apologize if anybody watches it. I was gonna ask her in the future, but I asked her. I said, honest question, being a bridesmaid, is it fun or do you dread being asked? And she put in all caps, exclamation point, dread. There you go. There you have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 6, The Princess and the Queen, Hot D, House of the Dragon. Let's fast forward 10 years, shall we? Rhaenyra gives birth. This is her third son. Alicent believes none of them are Lenore's, but actually they are Sir Harwin's. Damon has a family of his own with Lady Lena, the daughter of Rhaenys and Lord Corlys. Talia looks an awful lot like the Red Witch Melisandre. Lena, during a difficult childbirth, orders her dragon Vagar to take her life, and we end the episode with the queen setting forth a plan, inadvertently maybe, to kill Sir Harwin. Gentlemen, episode 6 of House of the Dragon. What are your biggest takeaways? Matty B, we'll start with you this time.
I think it's a masterclass in TV. It's an incredible way to take that 10-year jump. And in a lot of ways, and I don't normally like to do the after, because I usually wait for the preview of the next episode. But after that, they do this sort of behind the scenes thing. I typically don't like to check those because I don't like to be taken out of the world that I'm in. I don't want to view the characters as their actors. I want to finish the show and then watch that stuff later. But I did catch the beginning of that portion of the show where they were saying they basically had to do a second pilot because you're jumping ahead 10 years. You're introducing new actors in these roles, and I thought that this episode did that tremendously, and I loved where Rhaenyra was at. That her badass scene of walking with the afterbirth. We know what that means. The P word, not the one you're thinking of, but the second P word you think of. And she's walking up the stairs. She's struggling very, and it's insane how they're going through it. And then Alicent hits what's his name? Her who's Rhaenyra married to? What's his name again?
Um, hang
Lyris.
on.
Lyris, is that right?
Lenore.
Laenor. Maybe keep trying because they all know that she's getting laid up by her knight, which she has
Sir
a habit of,
Harwin.
right? So they kept that habit with Rhaenyra because her first was with her knight, and then she carried on a relationship with a different knight later. And speaking of Mister Crush Bones or whatever his name was, he's still not over it, and it's
No.
still no, and like, dude, it's been 10 years, bro.
And he
But
looks the
still,
same.
he's playing to Alicent's hand, and then we get the king, and he's missing an arm, I think, in this, right?
Ooh, good call out. Yeah, I think you're right.
And then we have the probably, and I was talking to Lauren about this because remember I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but Laris might
Okay.
be one of the most twisted folks in all of Game of Thrones. Period.
Oh, just wait till you watch the original. Just wait.
But I mean, there might be a couple others you could throw in there. She said like Littlefinger, something with somebody with the name of Bastard or whatever. But she was saying that Laris is, I mean, that move he pulled with Alicent at the end, where he killed his father and his brother, and she's in shock. I mean, that's insane. The
Yeah,
the level
you're
of stuff
right.
we're going through. And I have a theory that maybe that rat. Remember the rat that was going in the king's kingdom? That's a shapeshifter, I think. I think that there's a, I
Really?
think that maybe Clubfoot or somebody that's Laris, by the way. I call him that because he limps around.
Yeah.
But maybe Laris, either him or somebody close to him, is able to turn into that rat. And that's why the king was kind of looking at him like that. Like, you're always around, and my secrets keep getting out. What is this? And so I'm very interested to see how that might work out. But the best scene in this period whatsoever is Aegon just naked fapping in the sunshine.
Oh
We've
my
seen that
god.
move before, right? Didn't even in a few other shows we've seen recently.
The boys,
It
The
reminded me
boys,
of that. What
it's
was
a
that song?
Homelander.
What was that
yeah,
old song from way back when? Glistening in the sun.
but Fight, Fight Club too, right? Didn't
Yeah,
didn't Brad Pitt do that in Fight Club?
yeah,
I
I
don't
think he
know.
did.
Wow.
I think there was something like that. But it's
I don't know how I
I
forgot
thought it
about
was
that.
awesome. I thought it was awesome. This is good TV. When I talk about good TV, I'm like, wow, this is really incredibly good TV. It's very hard to go from She-Hulk to watch this. That's why I'm so salty today. But this is really really good. I love this episode.
Daniel says, worst episode of the season. Hated all of it. Worse than the last season of Game of Thrones. Wow, that's pretty bad.
He's trolling. He's just that's a troll.
He might be right because David says, I hate Sir Christian's heel turn. Ooh, maybe that's why Daniel hates it too. David says, Grayskull seems to have taken Viserys' left arm, and the rats are foreshadowing a big storyline. Ooh, yeah, yeah. These are based on several storylines from the books, but we are seeing some variances. And for anybody who is not familiar, um, forget her name now, Lady Lena. The way she died is actually different in the books. I kind of like this one better, but her child dies
Still the
either
same.
in, sorry, maybe I shouldn't spoil the books, but let's just say the way that Lady Lena dies is different in the books than it was in the show, and I kind of like this way better. So it was more dramatic, and I'm surprised her child. Spoiler alert for all this, by the way. I'm surprised her child died. Anybody else surprised by that? If you are a Targaryen, you are supposed to be sort of immune to fire, if I'm not mistaken. So shouldn't the child have lived unless it's only pure blood Targaryens that are immune to fire?
I think it died. That's why she killed herself.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't think that had happened yet. I thought maybe
I
there was some more time.
yeah
But
no,
it didn't
I
say
had
it.
I was under the same assumption. That's why she went ahead and told the dragon to kill him, to kill her, not kill her and
Dracon,
the infant.
you know.
Yeah,
That's interesting. David says that's apparently the same window that a certain Game of Thrones character jumped out of. Wink, if you know, you know. Yes, we do know. Matt doesn't know though, but he will figure it out one day. I'm sure. And Daniel says, "Nah, it was pretty bad. They flipped Rhaenyra and Damon's characters on their head. You know, I don't think Damon could ever really change. I just feel like he knows when to sort of go crazy, and he also knows when to take advantage of a situation. And right now, he's just kind of going around playing the mercenary, right? He's playing the hired gun.
I
Uh,
took it. I took
who
it
needs
like he
help?
did care.
Really? Well, I mean, in the sense that, like, him taking on a bride, having a family that's Valerian, is beneficial for him. Whenever something is beneficial, he's not going to screw it up. But when things sort of turn a little bit, his true colors will come out once again. I think he's just, biding his time, and we'll see good old Damon once again.
I do agree a little bit though, where it's like, 'cause with you on he'll show his true colors. I think sometimes he is showing his true colors, and in this episode, I felt a little bit different from him. So Lena, before she even passes away, is standing with him, and they're talking about the offer, and she's giving him hell about reading these books in a library and obsessing about things he says he doesn't obsess about, and she wants to travel. He's amusing this idea of possibly staying there. Um, and the way he looks over at her and she's like yelling at him, and then she kind of cuts him deep on something. And the way he said Lena to her was like caring. He's like, don't say that. I love you. It's almost like saying I love you and I do care about you. And then you can see when his daughters are sitting there at the end and they're sobbing, he sort of turns away and he's like, he has to reflect in this moment a little bit because now his plan, that whatever he had set forward, he either has to rethink. But I think it did affect him a little bit. I think it did kind of hit him kind of hard. And Rhaenyra's hardened because she's been pumping out babies and doing nothing
Joe,
but that with somebody who's
Joe,
not.
Joe, jump in any time, man. I know we haven't gotten to you
No,
yet.
I was, thinking about things, and one of the things that I had done too is I had read some of the books based on a recommendation of one of my friends, so I know what's going to happen. And the thing is like the rats are dictating something that's going to happen in the future, and it's very telling too because the rats actually mimic what's happening with the king, Viserys. The decay of his body is also prominent because it represents the decay of the kingdom per se. And the other thing about that too is the rats are also a prelude to what's going on right underneath the king and Prince Rhaenyra's nose. There's a lot of things that are treacherous, that are happening right in front of them, but they're just turning a blind eye to it. So the rats are foreshadowing some big things that are going to be coming up. And like David said, blood and cheese. If you read the books, you kind of know what he's talking about. I'm not going to ruin it for everybody here, but there's some big things coming up, and
Oh snap!
some big things coming up. And right now, with this 10-year time jump and the way the episode ended itself, now the shit's about to get real, because you heard what did Rhaenyra say, because you see the way that the dynamic changed between her and Alicent. Each one of these, people now, which used to be friends, they have their own agendas. I believe Alicent's father finally made her realize she needs to be fighting for her kids' lives, and she's doing everything she can to make sure that she's making Rhaenyra's life here in the kingdom absolutely miserable. She's doing everything she can to just keep on picking at her and just making her feel um, like she is less than nothing. She's going out of her way to do that, and you can see that it's taking a toll on Alison Hightower as well, because there was a scene where she looked like she was just about to break down. There was a lot of things going on, and she was just overwhelmed. And Rhaenyra finally said, "You know what? It's time for me to go back to Dragonstone. I should have done this a long time ago." And then what do you see at the end of the episode? You see Damien in one of these, um, like they do. Hey, next week we're gonna show you this. Seeing them all together is a prelude of things to come, and this is where you know that okay, things are going to start getting real now. Some real treacherous, devious shit's about to happen. You all like Game of Thrones? You know how you always say it's going to get real Game of Thrones. It's about to get real Game of Thrones now. Now the real shit's going to happen.
It is interesting. I'm actually a little disappointed that we all expected this time jump. I thought it would be a little bit, I don't know, a softer time jump. It was a hard time jump, and yeah, I'm gonna miss these characters, all the young versions of themselves, and but I am interested to see what happens. Let's see here. Need to get caught up on the chat here. Daniel says Rhaenyra went from a badass warrior girl to being paranoid of her stepmom. I mean, her stepmom is kind of a B. Um, her BFF, who started, sleeping with her dad. Damon got kind of soft, it seemed, in this 10-year time jump. David says a little bit. But again, I feel like when he's in the right situation, he will make sure to take advantage of a situation that benefits him until it doesn't benefit him anymore.
You can
Daniel
tell that
says,
Damon's depressed though. He misses home. Even though he says he doesn't. He's longing for something more. And what he's been given, his life right now, is a far contrast from what he's used to. And now he has these children in his life. He has a wife now in his life, and you can tell he has admiration and love for them, but there's just something missing. And that is the call to being, called home. Being with your family. Even though he might not say it, I believe that that's what's ailing him. you know
And being the second son, he
yeah.
still wants to find a way within all these texts and libraries to find a way to be the king. And that leads to my prediction that I have from this episode, and I want to see if you guys agree with me. I think he's like this. Lena dying is a way for him to get back to Westeros, where he can actually hook up with Rhaenyra, and then that will give her the silver-haired son that everybody is asking for. But that is going to set everything else up because her husband, Rhaenyra's husband, is not going to be able to make it happen apparently. So he's going to come in, and I think they're going to work something out where they hook up, and then she'll be able to produce a silver-haired heir that'll please Alicent and the rest of the kingdom to being the rightful heir.
Well, you're not far off there, Maddie, but there's still a lot of more. There's going to be a lot more to come. There's going to be a lot of things to get you there. You still have to go through a lot of shit just to get to
But
that
that's the end
point.
result. That's where I'm like my head is going with the
Yeah,
story.
I'm
So
saying like you're on the right path, but I'm saying there's a lot of things that are going to happen. And before you start seeing all these other things unfold. I mean, to me, there's going to be more than just one season, of course, of House of the Dragon, but the things are going to start getting real interesting as everybody's jockeying for position to kind of outdo the other.
yeah,
They're
and that's
right
that
now they're
Game of
really playing.
Thrones, right?
They're really playing. They're going to really start playing chess. They're
Mm.
looking for that checkmate. And once you all see what's really going to unfold, you're going to be like, man, this is getting good. So you're at that jumping off point right now. So there's a lot more things to come. So it's going
And
to get
it's
interesting.
cool. It's
Yeah.
interesting as my first entrance into the world. I didn't watch Game of Thrones, so it's really cool to watch this as like my first stepping off point, as if you will.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Even the bitterness between Rhaenyra and Sir Christian, is
Well, even
unrivaled.
10 years have passed. You don't think get over it, bro?
Like he's the jealous girlfriend at this point. It's like, get over it, bro. You
And
know?
he didn't want it. He basically turned down the situation, so he
Yeah.
has no room to complain.
So, what do you think about the bullying of the? So, Aegon is the firstborn son to the king. There's a middle child, right, or the second son. I
Second
forget
son.
his name, but the cousins of them, they're kind of messing with each other. And then they bring out the pig with the
The wings,
dragon
because
wings.
they don't have a dragon.
That's
Hysterical.
it's hilarious,
Yeah.
and it just goes to show. So, and then this is something for my Game of Thrones fans. Help me out with this question. So, only the male can pass on the silver hair
Potentially,
because
but I'm not really sure.
because the king hooked up like he had kids with Alicent, and they have blonde hair. And then Rhaenyra, she has blonde hair. She hooked up with someone with dark
Silver hair.
features. No, she hooked up with someone with dark features. She had two dark featured kids, and that's why she's getting hell right now, right? So, is only the male can pass on
I don't
that
know. At this point,
those
it's
features?
looking very much like that.
Okay, because that's what
Yeah,
I was
he
wondering.
looks
I was
like it.
like, well, that's kind of weird because he Allison has red hair, but so I didn't know if that was like established in the universe or what.
I just think it's looking like that in the way that
It
they're telling the story.
Yeah.
In the original series, you had kids with brown hair or red hair, and their parents might have had brown or red hair. So I think it might not matter as much. But the fact that you had Rhaenyra and you had Lenor, who both have very light hair. Lenor, who has silver hair, and Rhaenyra that has blonde hair, and none of their kids have either one. So
Yeah.
they're all dark-haired kids. It's pretty obvious what's going on here. You don't have to be a rocket scientist or a maester to figure out what exactly is happening behind closed doors. Daniel says, I did feel bad about Viserys. It's been 10 years of either pissing off either his wife or his daughter. He's probably just like, kill me now. Kill me now. David says, glad Otto Hightower is coming back to the show. Dr. Connors from Amazing Spider Man. Let's see here. David also says, I don't think so. Just a random gene. And Daniel says he told the long story of the horses, and basically it's a toss up. Ah, there you go. I wasn't paying attention to the horse story. I was just like, whatever.
Yeah, but Allison shut that horse story down quick. She wasn't dealing with it at all. And the political move that Rhaenyra made, and her father obviously out of touch with the kingdom and everything, and just being like, "Oh, what a great proposal! Oh my gosh, yes, marry your cousin."
Man, when the
Um,
king's out of the way, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be kind of
that's
crazy.
that's gonna be kind of nuts.
It's gonna get nuts. It's gonna get absolutely nuts when that happens. Um, I don't have any. Crazy if that Sir Harwin is dead. How will I mean? Obviously, things are gonna get pick up really quickly here, but how will Rhaenyra respond? That's what I'm very interested in hearing about and seeing. So I'm a little worried on how she's going to respond, but very interested to see exactly what goes down. Man, the father to her three kids up in flames, right? That's craziness. So yeah, can't wait to see kind of
And
what
who
unfolds
was
from
the
here.
character in like the brown cloak that had like a bee pin, sort of walking around there towards the
And
end?
those are the
The
hired
the
guns, man.
assassins, yeah, that's why they
Okay,
chopped their tongues off so they couldn't tell them who hired them.
okay, cool. So I didn't like. I was trying to figure that out the whole time. I was like, wait,
Yeah,
oh,
remember
you,
they said, "Oh, we're gonna go ahead and give you a reprieve and not hang you
and he cut his tongue off.
if you
Yep.
do something for us." And that's why they cut their tongues off with a
Hot
very
knife.
hot blade so they can cauterize the wound at the same
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
that's
Very
insane.
smart though, very smart. I feel like I've seen that somewhere else. I can't remember where, but yeah, cut their tongues out so they couldn't spill the beans if they get caught. And but they took care of the job. So there you go. Awesome. We want to hear from you guys. What are your biggest takeaways from episode 6 of House of the Dragon? Drop them in the comments, or you can send us a message on Facebook. Or if you're listening to this on the podcast form on an app, you can always email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com.
Hey guys, AJ Nyman here. For more GeekCast episodes, subscribe to us on your podcast app and please write us a review. Be sure to like us at Facebook at facebook.com/CountdownCityGeekcast. Follow us on Twitter at ccg_podcast or visit our website at www.countdowncitygeekcast.com. See you later, guys.